from Omaha's news leader. This is KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle.
Nebraska's next legislative session is just more than 5 months away. The makeup of the nonpartisan body still undetermined. We have to get through an election first. But the preparation to tackle the task at hand is already starting. Welcome to this week's Chronicle. I'm Bill Shammer. Today, we're looking at those pressing issues that will not only be on November's ballot, but will be major topics of discussion for Nebraska's unicameral come January. Today, we'll go over those ballot initiatives that you'll likely vote on and address what'll be at the top of every senator's priority list, the state budget deficit. We'll also be joined by 2 senators to talk about what you can expect in 2027. First, let's rewind back to the end of last year's legislature. It was an emotional day on April 17th. Many senators gave their farewell speeches after being term limited, but also tried to address issues that would be carried over to next session. Chronicle's Capitol Bureau Chief John Grinvalds reports from the Capitol Rotunda.
You're better than I ever did. Have courage. We are all counting on you.
A day of tearful tributes, as more than a dozen senators won't return next year.
Thank you for 8 years. I wish I could do more, but I can't believe you let me do any at all.
But before the parting speeches, there was still work to do on the floor. 4 senators filed motions to override Governor Jim Pillen's veto. That's where partisan politics reared their head, as all 4 failed. It was starkest with Senator John Kavanaugh's LB 1256, which passed with unanimous support before Pillen halted it. 26 lawmakers jumped ship when it came back for a vote. Some senators took shots at the direction of the state during debate.
Back into a $100 million deficit with your fiscal irresponsibility.
Pillen, in his speech, touted success for conservatives this session, but he says there's more work to do.
When this body reconvenes, I'm challenging the 110th that we just come together and we solve the property tax crisis.
Pillen also reflected on the state's lingering scars from wildfires.
It resulted in extraordinary pain.
Ahead for the next session, fiscal woes that won't seem to go away. A more than $600 million deficit is projected for the next budget cycle that's set to grow after lower than expected tax receipts in March.
We really need to address income tax. We need to address where we put dollars.
That is John Grinvalds reporting. A total of 13 senators will not return for the next session. It's due to either term limits or personal decisions. That means all of those seats will be up for election in November, plus many more who are seeking a second term in Lincoln. The Secretary of State's office is still verifying signatures, but it appears online sports betting will be on the November ballot. Supporters say over the first 5 years, if it passes, that alone could provide $12 million a year in property tax relief. It's an issue that legislators would have to work with come January if voters pass those ballot initiatives. Chronicle's Quinicia Fraser has the details on these 2 measures.
If you're looking to sports bet legally in Nebraska, you have to make a trip to a place like Warhorse Casino at 60th and Q. But if voters approve 2 ballot initiatives, you could do it on your phone from anywhere if you're old enough.
It's a bit of a gamble on the side of the industry to try to bring this to the voters, but it's proven to be a pretty successful one in other states.
Jeff Zokodny is a senior news analyst for Covers.com. He says Nebraska's neighbor, Missouri, is the most recent state to launch legal online sports betting. And the way it was legalized there is similar to the path Nebraska's on.
For years, this was debated in the Missouri legislature, and it just couldn't get across the finish line. And so the industry decided to take it directly to the people.
In Nebraska, 20% of casino revenue is taxed. Online betting would be the same. Tax Relief Nebraska is spearheading the petition drive. According to their research, online sports betting would bring about $87 million of tax relief to Nebraska over the first 5 years. When it comes to property tax relief, that number is $61 million. Warhorse Casino CEO Lance Morgan supports the measure. He says Nebraskans are already betting online without making the trip to Iowa.
Online has exploded either through VPNs or these predictive markets. So it's So it's happening at scale. It's totally unregulated, totally untaxed.
Nebraska Family Alliance does not want sports betting in the state.
This is not about tax relief. It's not about improving the lives of ordinary Nebraskans. This is about enriching large national out-of-state gambling companies at the expense of our kids and student athletes.
As for the signatures, they still need to be verified by the Nebraska Secretary of State.
That's Quinicia Fraser reporting. And now former Nebraska head football coach Tom Osborne and U.S. Senator Pete Ricketts have voiced their opposition to online sports betting. Most recently in 2024, when legislation to legalize it appeared in the unicameral but failed to pass. Now to the state's budget deficit, which continues to grow. The numbers show senators will have to fill a gap that's growing to roughly $800 million over the next few years. It's prompted Governor Pillen to order mandatory spending cuts in the middle of summer. Chronicle's Izzy Fonfara-Droul explains.
Governor Jim Pillen issued a memo Wednesday directing all state agencies to cut spending. Senator Robert Clements, who sits on the legislature's Appropriations Committee, calls it a necessary step.
Just like we do at home when our funds are tight and there's a shortfall, we tighten our belts. And I'm glad to see that the state is willing to do that.
In June, the Department of Revenue said after looking at tax receipts, the state will have a $172 million shortfall. That's on top of the already $631 million deficit over the next 2 years.
We're still a high-tax state, and we need to control our spending so that we can continue to give tax relief.
Senator Clements says by 2027, the state's income tax rate will fall to 3.99%. It's part of Governor Pillen's tax reform signed into law in 2023. But Clements says it's a benchmark that now requires fiscal restraint.
I'm confident that this is a belt tightening that will be needing to be done for a year or so. But after that, we're going to see revenue growth that won't require continued cuts.
In his memo, Governor Pillen lists 4 directives. Monthly allotments from the state budget division reduced by no less than 5%. You must submit monthly cash flow projections. Plans for spending reduction are due at the end of July and effective immediately. Agencies must get approval before creating or refilling all positions. In a statement, the governor says he's pleased with progress, but, quote, we must do better. We must embrace the innovation and change necessary to shrink the size of government.
Our economy is strong. One report recently said Nebraska personal income growth is good above most states.
It's Izzy Fonfara-Droul reporting. Still ahead on KETV News Watch 7's Chronicle, more on the budget deficit as our reporter sits down with the governor to talk about his concerns. Hear what's being done to address the state's budget deficit as we sit down with 2 of Nebraska's state senators to get the facts on what's happening.